Shalom and welcome to another installment of Apostles at GMS, giving all praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Today's topic is going to be entitled, Martial Law is Here in America. And the title pretty much says it all. And I'm going to pass the mic and y'all do what y'all got. Hey, well, you can start with that story right there.
All right, this is an article that Brother Yakanan had sent me. This is from stupid.com. They have different articles here. But this is dated August 19th, 2014. It says, racist boy dies for 3 minutes, says Jesus is a nigger. Because the truth is coming out, you know, I mean, because as we read the article, his father was a member of the KKK, you know, and you know how they feel about Jake, you know, but then when he died, he went to heaven, he found out that the Lord and the angels are black men. It says a young white Christian boy who briefly died on a surgeon's operating table during a liver transplant this past weekend says he met Jesus Christ and he was African American. Billy Landers, the son of a well-known KKK member in Mobile, Alabama, who was suffering from liver failure, was technically dead for 3 minutes before being resuscitated. During that time, the 13-year-old claims he visited the afterlife. It was all niggers, he told WKRG News after the ordeal. There were a few white people, but they were just entertaining the blacks. You know? It says like playing basketball. There were lots of nigger angels watching them play basketball, Lander said. Jesus was a coon too. Jesus wasn't white like Daddy says he is. I asked my father why is Jesus a nigger. He couldn't answer. I'd been taught that the Most High, or that God and Jesus hate niggers, that God cursed them by turning their skin black, that they were mud people. Billy's father said his son's experience has not made him question white supremacy and Anglo-Saxon Jesus. It's kind of disturbing to me that he came back with the story of niggers of nigger heaven. He told reporters, but clearly my son is suffering from some sort of schizophrenia or something. There's no way Jesus is a nigger. I'm going to have my boy put on antipsychotic medications. You know, and that's the end of the article. So basically, that's how people feel in the world today. You know, there's no way that the Lord, you know, the one the world calls Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai, could be a black man. He has to be a white man. Why? Because that's the image that's been pushed out for so long, since the Renaissance time, since the Renaissance period. So that's the image that's branded in the average person's mind out here. You know, and that's why, you know, it's important. You know, for us, you know, when we teach, we have to keep pushing that. You know, as well as the martial law and the chip and all that stuff that's coming. You know, you have to keep pushing the truth because for a long time the truth has been hidden. You know, matter of fact, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, and this is happening because we're coming now. People are starting to question it. You know, like that little boy had that experience, and his father just clearly just came out. No way that Jesus could be a black man. You know, and then he said he even threatened to put his son on antipsychotic medication or some kind of crazy ass medication. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 28. It says, as for faith, matter of fact, I'll start up at 25 or 26. And the men that I receive shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth. And the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed. And that's what's happening right now. You know, the minds of the elect are being changed. Why? Because the truth is coming out. Right? It says, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And that's what's happening right now. The truth is being declared. You know, that Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is a black man. His father, the Heavenly Father, the Most High, is a black man. The angels are black. You know, the real Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You know, and all that, and many other things that are coming out. You know, so that image that's been branded in these people's brains is slowly but surely starting to get chopped away at. But these crackers ain't gonna believe it. Why? Because they believe that the white man is superior to us, and they're not. They're our slaves. You notice what the kid said in the article. he said that the white people were there entertaining them like playing basketball. That's what Jake is doing for the so-called white man. They're nothing but entertainment for the so-called white man. You know, you want to they want to get a good laugh. They'll watch Jake. You know, they'll see Jake playing basketball or baseball or whatever the case is. You know, whatever entertains them. You know, and usually it's Jake that's doing the entertaining. You know, but there's going to be a role reversal in the kingdom of heaven. Why? Because Esau is going to be playing that part. You know, he's going to be playing the part of Amos and Andy, Step and Fetch It, you know, and all those different old movies and plays and stuff like that were being played back in the days, and even to this very day. You know, because when you watch these videos and you see Jake dancing, they be getting down, but it's nothing but a modern day minstrel show. You know, and who's the ones that's entertained by it? You got a lot of crackers that watch it to get entertained. But in the kingdom, they're going to be the ones that's going to be doing the entertaining. And really, they're not that funny, so they're going to need a lot of help. I got a quick precept. This is the book of Lamentation, chapter 1, verse 21. They have heard that I sigh, there is none to comfort me. All mine enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. So that's basically what's going to happen. You know, the Lord's going to take us from a slave state, put us into a kingly, priestly state, and then Esau and the other nations, they're going to become the new slaves on the planet. You know, mainly Esau, because he's a proud devil. You know, and that's the reason why they're fighting so hard right now, trying to push this new world order, because they know that the time is short. They know that the information is out there. They know that the word is being pushed. You know, the real Israelites are being pushed out there. You know, and the truth is coming out. So they're doing whatever they can to hurry up and implement this new world order, because when if they get a chance to fully implement the new world order, what they plan on doing is they plan on shutting down any type of freedom of speech. You know, they plan on shutting down, you know, any type of gathering, you know. They plan on just putting people in concentration camps. They plan on putting microchips in people, not only to track them, but that they can buy or sell or have all their information on that card, like you would have like right now on the computer. When they type in your name on a computer, your address will come out, your age, where you live at, if your license is good or not, you know, if you owe taxes, you know. So they want to have all of that in one database, which is the RFID microchip. That's where they want to store all that information. And whenever you want to get something from the store, you know, or wherever, you swipe your hand to make that payment. And I don't see what the big deal is, or why some people out there can't see it, but you know, the Lord blinded them.
The ones that can't see it are the ones that sold out. You know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, and they taught to teach that, because if you really watch that documentary, you know, that we did a while back, it's a 6-part series. It was broken down thoroughly. You know, and if you took 2 minutes to do the research and just look up the Greek word for mark, you will see, you know, that it's talking about the microchip. But like Apostle Tar just said, he said some of them guys up in the top, they sold out, and the people that's following them are just blindly following them. You know, they don't really do the research on their own. They're just whatever Nate says or whatever General Yohanan says, that's what they accept. You know, but it's all right, because whether you hear it or not, like the scriptures say, whether you hear or forbear, the Lord's still gonna bring it. You know, because it's prophecy. The Lord said that His words don't go out void. So this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 2. I'll start at the first verse. And he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. And that's the reason why we're out there teaching. You know, for the elect to be turned back to the Lord. And for the 2/3, you know, to hear their judgment. It says, they and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. even right now, August of 2014. For they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord power. And that's what we're saying. What Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua has told us to say, to tell you, to warn you about what's coming. It says, and they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a house, yet shall know that there hath been a prophet among them. You know, and when these things, because you can start seeing it in the news now. It's here. You know, all they need is the right crisis to bring this. You know, they were hoping that that thing in Ferguson would have escalated to other cities. You know, and I mean, it still might. You know, because if the cop gets off, that might explode. You know, and then if it spills over to a few states, you know, maybe like 4 or 5 cities, then they could just fully bring martial law in effect. You know, and that's really what they want to do. They need the right crisis, whether it be civil disobedience or civil unrest, whether it be a pocket nuke going off in a major city or a couple of major cities, you know, whether it be whatever, you know, just the right crisis so that they could declare a national emergency and send in the FEMA troops, sending, you know, the National Guard, the militarized police, the riot police, you know. And you see when them cops come out, they don't play. They start busting heads, man. You know, like back in the days, you know, the officer would, you know, tell you to stop, maybe frisk you or whatever, you know, and eventually either let you go or arrest you. Now, as soon as they roll up on you, they got guns drawn, shooting at you, you know, for whatever. Whether you stole a piece of bubble gum at the store, or you just committed grand larceny, or you robbed a bank. Them cops are trained like that, you know. Right. So, because we're at the time, the breaking point right now. This is going to be the breaking point, and people are fed up of these cops. You know, that's why it says in 2nd Ezra that the course of their action shall be in their own hand. Matter of fact, let me read that real quick. You know, because this is all going to be leading. You know, it's leading into because martial law is here. You know, like, you know, sometimes you hear us say martial law is coming. Martial law is already here. You know, martial law is basically, you know, when the military comes in and takes over, you know, the average American citizen, you know, doing the job of the police. You know, they become the police. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. You know, and that's what's coming.
We're protesting for a cause.
You know, because these race riots, that racial tension is there. You know, that's why them and I'll say this, man. I have to say it like this, man. Them Jakes out there in the South and in the Midwest and over there on the West Coast, they're a lot rougher than these tame pussycats over here, man. These Jakes over here in the East Coast, you know, they're totally blinded, totally asleep. You know, like them Jakes, you do something to them, they'll go off. I mean, they'll go off, they'll burn down their own city, but at least they're ready to explode. You know, like the short fuse. You know, but these Jakes over here in the East Coast, man, you guys are tame, man. You guys are like pussycats. You know, but the Lord's gonna put that spirit in you. And you're gonna be forced to fight, because the so-called white man is gonna push you into a corner where you're gonna either have to fight or die. You know, and we live in some serious times. You know, and you see the average Jake out there, all they're doing is playing around, having fun, talking shit. You know, watching the game or going to a game, or, you know, whatever floats their boat. You know, going to these different clubs and all that. You know. Their mindset is not set on current events, on issues that are happening in the news. You know, or why is that thing going on out there in Ferguson? What's the real reason behind that in Missouri? You know, why is it that the so-called white man, you know, these cops, you know, they always, for some reason, they always kill Jake, you know, always kill so-called blacks or Latinos. You know, they don't question things like that. But you know what? You're going to be pushed into a corner and forced to question these things, because the Most High is going to push you in that predicament. You know, when them race wars break out, it's going to be vicious out here, man. It says, for there shall be, and the women ain't going to jump up to say shit. You know, because a woman, she got a lot of mouth, but as soon as you clock it real good, or some chaos comes on out here, the first ones that start screaming and running are women. And what do they run and scream at? They're running and screaming, and they'll try to hide behind a man. Because they know deep down inside that...
Don't come trying to hide around me, because I'm going to sidekick you. You know?
Yeah, because these women are totally out of order, man. Like, we were just watching a video, you know, in KOC the 8, you know, he was being interviewed looking crazy as hell. And he said that, as he usually does, right. And he was saying that, you know, that they say that the black woman is evil, she got to get herself together, or get herself in order, something like that. Well, yeah, you damn right. She got to get herself in order. You know, because the things that are coming, she ain't going to be able to run her mouth like she's doing right now. You know, it says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. You know, and they show you in different movies, like the movie The Road. You know, when the people roll up in that other people, was that The Road? The people roll up and then you start. No, that was no, it wasn't the Book of Eli. It was one of the movies where they show you. I think it was The Road, where they show you that the people went up into a house, and then all you see is gunshots.
Oh, Contagion.
Contagion.
Yeah, Contagion.
You know, so they're showing you that these things are gonna happen. You know, once somebody's pushed into a position where they have nothing to lose and they have nothing, they're gonna come and get what you got. And who's the ones that got everything? The so-called white man. You know, so when these things start happening, they're gonna have to do something to so-called stop it.
Yeah, I got a scripture. This is Lamentations, the 2nd chapter. And I'm going to start from the 14th verse. I might want to go up above that. 14. It says, thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee. Those are them false prophets, those black consciousness guys, because you put them guys up as your prophets. The pastors and the ministers in the churches, the deacons and so forth in the churches, the leaders of the Roman Catholic churches and so forth, your black community, you know, and your Israelite groups that have been paid off. All right, it says, thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity. Because when we go out there, mainly we're getting on Jake about the wickedness that they're doing. All right? It says to turn away thy captivity, because you're in captivity whether you know it or not. But have seen for the false burdens and causes of banishment. 15. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. In other words, when these Edomites and these other nations, they go in your neighborhoods, like they go on bus tours in Harlem, they're looking at you and they're like happy that you motherfuckers are in that condition that you in. You know? It says, clappeth their hands at thee, they hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem. Now the word daughter of Jerusalem is talking about the whole nation of Israel. If it was talking about just the women of Israel, it would say daughters of Israel. But it says daughter of Jerusalem, because we're likened unto a comely, beautiful woman. All right? It said they wagged their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? Because at one time, really to give you a time frame, for 40 years, when Solomon was in power, well, before that, King David was in power. He took down all them nations round about him, and they had wars here and there with them Philistines, but he had them Edomites and hardcore slavery. Matter of fact, when Solomon came on the scene, his great navy was down there in the land of Edom, off the coast. So we had under subjection. So now that we're under everybody, under the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Hamites, because any of these nations could come into this land, and you in this country with an education, high school, college, you ain't got no business. A damn Hamite can speak maybe 5 words in English, and all of a sudden he builds up a shop, and all of a sudden a year later he's expanding. Same thing with the Moabites. Same thing with the Ammonites, Chinese and the Japanese. Same thing with the Arabs. Same thing with the East Indians. Same thing with the Koreans. All right? And they I don't know if Esau, pulled them to the side and told them that these are the Israelites, but I know the elites, whether they told them or not, the elites know what's going on. See, the elites, the Rothschilds, the top elites of this society, the super rich, the trillionaires of this society, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and so forth, the Wahlbergs, the Schiffs, they know exactly who you are. They have all the records. They know that you are the Israelites, and they know that you're going to put them into slavery. But they're figuring that they can trick the Most High, find a way to make the Most High forget that you the children of Israel, so that they can stay in power forever. They're not going to stay in power forever, and they know it. See, this situation out there in Missouri, out there in Ferguson, you had people protesting, cops kind of losing it and everything. But you know what? Let it happen. Let it happen. Let the next thing happen. Because they showed you, man, they didn't just have local cops. They had police and riot gear, and they had those MRAPs. They had those. It looked like a war zone somewhere in a third world country, in Iraq. Actually, those MRAPs were built to fight in Iraq and the Middle Eastern countries that they have those skirmishes over. And then they eventually called in the National Guard. So what do you call that? You call that martial law. And there was a point where the police, they were shooting tear gas canisters even at the press, because they don't want the press to cover them, because they have a right to cover what's going on, because it's out in the public. But they'll shoot canisters at them and say, "Oh, we didn't realize it." The first real incident of martial law was up there in Boston, about a year and a half ago? Yeah. They were looking for so-called two guys, and they sent in the police, but they were dressed like they were ready for a war. And then they had basically they didn't have their nines, their service nines or their Glock 9s out. They had rifles, man. Whether they had M16s, whether they still use them or not, or whether they had Uzis, or whether they had AK-47s. They had helmets on. They had the goggles on. They had the military looking fatigues on, and they moved in that type of military formation. And they made everybody suspect, man. That's why they were going from door to door, and you had to open up your door. If you didn't open the door fast enough and let them go up in there, they were going to arrest you, man. And they were going in there yelling at you, yelling at your wife, kicking furniture over, shooting dogs. They went in there as a military force. And that's martial law. That's what you call a police state.
This thing stinks to high heaven. These two.
And that was the first step.
Horrible.
Now you have this situation. You're gonna have another situation.
But there is.
Now maybe the next situation, they'll have agent provocateurs with guns to shoot certain guns. Maybe shoot a cop or something like that, or a couple of cops, and cause them cops to just lose it. And those police officers are not disciplined, man. Most of them are not disciplined. Because you might have one inferior officer or police officer, he might see a gunshot, a bullet fly over his head, and he might just lose it. And when his commanding officer says stop, he's going to keep going. And other guys that are not disciplined, they're going to keep going. And it's going to cause a mass death. And then it's going to lead to these concentration camps, like the scriptures speak of in the book of Revelation. So we're coming to that time, and we've been saying this for the longest, man, that martial law is coming to this country.
There you go. Well, guess what? Well, guess what? It's already here. You know? Now it says, this is from the ACLU, American Civil Liberties.
Let me just read this real quick. All right, this is an article. Let me see. Okay, it says, trying to go to the top page here, or the top of the page. Okay, the article is entitled, as Global Research. The article is entitled De facto Martial Law in Ferguson, Missouri. It says the state of Missouri, with the full backing of the Obama administration, keep that in mind, because Obama could have called all that back. See, the calling in of the National Guard, that's a executive order from the president. All right, has responded to continuing protests against the police murder of Michael Brown, an unarmed African-American teenager, by imposing de facto martial law on the largely working-class city of Ferguson. And then the article goes on, all right? It speaks about, it says residents have been stripped of their constitutionally guaranteed right to assemble, because that's protest, the right to protest, all right? Peaceably assemble, all right? Reporters have been arrested or banished in violation of freedom of the press. Police checkpoints, sounds like Iraq, have been set up at major intersections. A massive force of military vehicles, and don't take my word for this article, watch the news. Helicopters, sound cannons, flash grenades, tear gas, SWAT, special weapons and tactics, or special weapons assault teams wielding assault weapons, and local cops backed by National Guard troops has been deployed to intimidate, terrorize, and crush social protests. So it's happened. It's already here. We've been saying it was going to happen, and it's happening as we speak.
Yeah, America is basically a war zone right now. You know, now this is from an article on the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. The title of the report is War Comes Home, the excessive militarization of American policing. All across the country, heavily armed SWAT teams are raiding people's homes in the middle of the night, often just to search for drugs. It should enrage us that people have needlessly died during these raids, that pets have been shot, and that homes have been ravaged. Our neighborhoods are not war zones, and police officers should not be treating us like wartime enemies. But that's exactly what the American public has become ever since the Trading with the Enemy Act. I believe that was signed into law by FDR. March of 1933, you know. So basically, you know, the average American citizen out there is basically an enemy of the state. That's why they had that movie, Enemy of the State, you know, with Will Smith. And what were they doing? They were tracking the guy. They were looking for him. Why? Because he was a law-abiding citizen, and then all of a sudden they deemed him an enemy. And what were they doing through the whole movie? Chasing him, trying to find him. You know, and that's the reason why they want to implant everybody with these microchips. One of the reasons, you know, so they can track you. You know, your every move. You know, your transactions, your medical records, and all that. It says, and yet every year billions of dollars worth of military equipment flows from the federal government to state and local police departments. Departments use these wartime weapons in everyday policing, especially to fight the wasteful and failed drug war, which has unfairly targeted people of color. As you're gonna find out, man, that you got these assholes like Nate talking about, you know, he don't believe in conspiracies, which he's a double-minded fool. Because in one breath he'll say he doesn't believe in conspiracies, in another breath he'll speak about conspiracies. Dude is a double-minded clown, man. You know, there's a conspiracy against so-called people of color, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You know, because here it is. You've been here in this country, you know, 400. plus years. You know, some of you been here longer. You know, and why is it that you never excel? I mean, you have a handful of Jakes that excel, but when these nations come over to this country, they all excel, all of them. The majority of them, at least 95% or more of them excel. They have brand new freaking cars. They have businesses. They have houses.
They got houses. All them Koreans and them Africans and Arabs. What you notice? They come into your communities, right? And they're there every day. They're there for like 18 hours. You know, they got their fruit stands and their corner grocery stores and so forth. And if you watch them leaving, they'll close the gates down, and they don't go. They don't walk up the street. They don't go to the projects. They leave town, man. They go to their nice house in New Jersey, or up there in Scarsdale, or some nice area, man. They don't live among you, man. So you're gonna tell me that's not a conspiracy?
Yeah, it's all designed that way. You know, you have a scripture.
Yeah. The word conspiracy means to breathe together, and you know, you got the people that the elites that are high up in this government, the banking families, the top elite. They're the ones that are spearheading the conspiracy against you Jakes, against you Israelites. Now that's recorded in the book of Psalms 83, beginning at the first verse. It says, "Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, and hold not thy peace, and be not still." And through us, you know, beginning here with the apostles of Great Millstone on down, we're not keeping silence. You know, it's our job to mention these things and to show it in scriptures. Right. You know, that there is indeed a conspiracy, and the New World Order, we're supposed to talk about it. We're supposed to prove, according to the scriptures, that the New World Order is really, which the so-called white man wants to bring, the New World Order is really to try to bring you back into slavery, try to bring you Jakes, you tribes, back into oppression. Because that's what the so-called white man was set up. He was set up to be our instrument of oppression. All right, so reading on, it says, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult." Another word for tumult is a conspiracy, which means breathe together. Why do you think they have these secret meetings? Behind secret closed doors, you have something called secret societies. Now in those secret societies, they get together and they discuss you, your tribes, how they can further oppress you and finally corral you into slavery, total oppression. You know, how they can put that chip inside of you, which the chip represents total control. All right? So it says, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult." That's why they have these secret societies behind closed doors. An example is the Bohemian Grove, which they just had their meeting the last 2 weeks of July. They just had their meeting, those elites. And I guarantee you, you Jakes was at the top of the topic. Reading on, it says, "And they that hate thee have lifted up the head." So they hate us. And lifted up the head means they're behaving proud against us. That's why they have something called the chemtrails, which they're predominantly dropping in the cities, which is where you Jakes are, you tribes are. That's part of the conspiracy, the chemtrails. "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people." What is that? Conspiracy. "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones." And just like Apostle Taw said, these top elites, they know exactly who you are. They got the records. They know that you're the Israelites, and they know that you're going to put them in slavery. That's why they made that movie back in 1968, Planet of the Apes. And in the movie, it shows you, you know, the apes were a metaphor for you tribes, you Jakes. And they show you the apes putting so-called white people in slavery, having them as slaves. All right, so they know the deal. They know the truth. "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones." Reason why it says hidden ones, because we're hidden to our nationality on the whole. There's no such thing as African American, Negro, Puerto Rican, West Indian, Mexican. That's not your true biblical nationality. Your true biblical nationality is that you're the Hebrew Israelites of the respective tribes. Like the so-called Mexicans, you would be of the tribe of Issachar. The so-called Negroes, you of the tribe of Judah. And the top elites, they know this. They know all this information. They have the records. That's why the scripture said that they have consulted against thy hidden ones. What is hidden is your nationality. And that's the biggest kept secret in America today, that you so-called Negroes are the real Jews. That the so-called white man that calls himself a Jew is not a Jew, according to the Bible.
Yeah, let me say something right here. You had read across the word tumult, right? I looked it up.
Yeah, tumult.
And,
Yep.
tumult. The word is Hebrew, from the Hebrew word hamah. But if you go to it, it says to murmur, growl, roar, cry aloud, mourn, rage, sound, make noise, tumult. But anyway, in other words, they really want, they fight over in secret meetings how we're going to get rid of these niggas.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, they have the heated spirited arguments. Like, I'm going to give you an example. You have a guy by the name, supposedly is an ex-CIA Satanist, which is bullshit. Once you get in, you don't get out. The only way you get out is through death of these different secret societies. And the guy's name is Michael Mahoney, and he made a statement. He said, we have lusted for the hour when we can get our hands on the Christians. All right?
And that's
now,
a meaning of tumult.
yeah, that's the very definition of tumult. That's
Tumult is a war cry.
Con.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
But I looked this up now. I clicked on that the etymology of the word, the root of the word, and the word there is hawam, which is a root of hama. Okay. Now it says this: to distract, ring again, make a great noise, murmur, roar, discomfort, be moved, to discomfort, to be in a stir. What's happening out there in Missouri?
Mm-hmm.
That's it is a distraction.
Right.
Because those are the steps of setting up a martial law.
That's right.
And once that thing gets calmed down, something else is going to happen. Right now, as we speak, Al Sharpton, the good Reverend Al Sharpton, he the sellout, the FBI agent provocateur, he's marching over the Verrazano's Narrows Bridge, protesting the choking death of what's this guy, Eric Garner.
Yeah.
So
Eric
that's
Garner.
another incident. So you got that incident, then you have this incident that we're dealing with right now out there in Missouri, and then you're going to have another incident, and you're going to have another one, and each time when you have them protesters come out and the media come out in force, you're going to have the cops, the police coming out in their military battle array. And basically, something's going to lead. One thing is going to lead to another. What's going to really kick that thing off? Let's say some crazy niggas come out and just blow away some cops out there. All hell is going to break loose. All hell is going to break loose.
Yeah.
So we at that time. We've been saying it for the longest, and now it's happening. And what they're doing, things are getting stirred up, then things get calmed down. Then it gets stirred up, then it gets calmed down. And this is the reason why this is happening in this way is really because of the Most High.
Yeah.
But eventually, man, this country is going to be a goddamn explosion. All right? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, scripture, the analogy the scripture gives is of a woman in labor pains. We can bring that out. And then the woman, she just bring forth the baby. She has a pain here, pain there. And finally, when the contractions come quicker and quicker, she's about to bring forth that baby. The contractions is really intermittent stages of pain. So that's really what you have with these different police shootings here and police injustice there. Those are the different pains, and it's going to mount up. It's going to come quicker and quicker, and all of a sudden that baby is going to come forth. What is that baby? Destruction. All right. As a matter of fact, if you have the scripture, okay. Well, while you're looking for it, I'll just read Psalms 83rd chapter. It says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones." So now you know what the term hidden ones mean. And now you know about the crafty counsel. Right? They have said, come and let us, and your so-called black leaders, they're part of that crafty council too. They've all sold out, man. Like Apostle Tower mentioned, Sharpton is juiced in, man. All right, Sharpton, he takes orders. All right, he has superiors that are over him, which is so-called Jews, which are part of those banking families, or part of those that Illuminati power structure, and they tell that nigger what to do, and he goes out there like a good little obedient minion, and he does what they tell him to do, which is really to cause strife. All right, which will lead into some kind of altercation. That's the very definition of the word agent provocateur, and that's exactly what Sharpton is. All right, they have said, come and let us cut them off, Psalms 83 and 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So all what they're doing is really to destroy you tribes, from your nationality, because they know once you come together as a nation, that's the end of them. That's the end of their power. They also know that the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is going to deliver you. All right, which the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to deliver us anyway, starting with the elect. But their thing is to try to destroy you from becoming a nation. All right. Did you find it?
I got some real quick. Because I just wanted to. I got two scriptures. One to back up the Apostle Tahar, because he mentioned how these things are going on, and then you got one situation in Ferguson, you got another situation here in New York, and there's been many shootings of Jake all throughout the United States. Oscar Grant, out there in California, and all these things are slowly but surely stirring up, Jake to start rousing up. And this is
before you read that, I'm sorry, hold that statement, because I got to read two more verses, then I'll let you come in. This is back in Psalms 83 and 5. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. That's a conspiracy. They are confederate against thee. And then it names the nations for you. The 6th verse, it says, the tabernacles of Edom. Edom is a so-called white man. All right, the top Edomite family are the so-called Jews, who are also known as Amalek in the Bible. So they're confederate against you. They're against you. And you notice they're the first nation to be mentioned. Even though if you know the history of Israel, the first nation that warred against us was the Hamites, I believe. The Hamites. Wasn't the Edomites. But yet they're the first nation mentioned. All right, the tabernacles of Edom. And the Ishmaelites, those are the so-called Arabs. Of Moab, the so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes, which are the so-called Africans today. So those are all the nations that are against you. All right? Okay.
So this is Genesis 49 and 8. It says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee, because the so-called Negroes in this country, which are the real Jews, their hands are going to be in the neck of their enemies. You're going to be choking crackers. You're going to be choking Moabites, Ammonites. It's going to be a bloody scene out here in America. Because they see the injustice, but Jake is so beat down, so to speak, that they ain't doing anything, because the Lord still got that veil over them. But once the Lord pulls that veil back, you're going to start getting loose on these nations, especially the so-called white man. And I just want to say real quick, this guy from Alternative Media, I believe his name is Chris Green. He made a statement, because I guess he was in shock that there was a protest going on in Ferguson over this white cop that killed a black kid. And then he said, I wonder if there would be a protest if a black cop shot a white kid. Well, my answer to you is, that's up to you white people to do the protest, not black people, so-called black people, Israelites, because you got to, when you go back into the history of this country, the so-called black men in this country has been catching hell since they arrived here on the shores of America as slaves, and then justice never stopped, and it's going on every day, and the thing is that people are getting tired of the bullshit, basically. So all this stuff that's going on, whether the cop was justified to shoot him or not, there's been so many kids out there, so-called Negroes and Latinos getting shot by these cops that they're getting tired of it.
Now you just said something. I was looking at the verse. I was looking at something else, but you kind of said blacks and Latinos. Now when they come together, because now when these situations happen, it's either like a cop kills a Jake, or a cop might kill a Mexican kid, or a Puerto Rican kid, or a Dominican kid, and now the Dominicans are protest, or the Puerto Ricans might protest. But see, when this deal goes down, is when the Latin tribes and the so-called black tribes, I'll call them, Negroid tribes, come together. So there'll have to be some type of incident that's going to cause them to come together. Now, I was looking at one scripture, and a page right next to that page following, my eyes just jumped to it, you know? And we always bring out this scripture, but this is what it says. It says, there's a lot of verses to cover, but I'm going to try to narrow it down. I'll start at 12. Isaiah 11 and 12. It says, and he shall set up an ensign. Look up the word ensign. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And we were literally scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, north, south, east, and west, as far as you can go in any of those directions. So we're all over the place. You got Israelites that look like Moabites. You got Israelites that look like Edomites. You got Israelites that look like Arabs or speak the Arab tongue. You got Israelites that look like Hamites. You know them dusty, dirty Hamites? A lot of them are Israelites. All right? It says... 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah. Now the envying part was that Judah was set up by David as a king. So the line of the king came through Judah. And what happened was there was an Ephraimite during the time of King Solomon's reign named Jeroboam. And basically he wanted to, the prophet came to him and tore his garment in 12 pieces. And he said, you're going to take 10 tribes, and 3 are going to be left. I think he said 2 are going to be left. But really there's 3 that's going to be left. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right? And basically he actually did it, pursuant to the fulfilling that prophecy. And there was a point in time when you read that account that Solomon wanted to kill him, and he had to flee into Egypt. And then when he came back to gather those tribes, he had taken out 2 of the golden calves that went back during the time of Moses, the so-called the Mizraim captivity, which you call the Egyptian captivity. And that's how he got them, through that idol worship. See, it speaks about Ephraim and that heavy idol worship. And that's how he got them other tribes, all right? It said, the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, all right? 14, it says, but they, when they come together, but they, and which is very soon, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. Oh, and by the way, Bangs, I hate to inform you, he's a Philistine. He's from Senegal. He a Philistine. Yeah, Bangs, the worst rapper on the planet. He said, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines. Bangs is in that too. Toward the west, they shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom. Now, what you think that means? That means it's going to be consensual, you know, right? Consensually. Can I lay my hand on you, Mr. Esau? They agreed. Inside joke. Hands upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. Now, why are they going to obey us? Because we're going to fuck them up. We're going to beat them down. We're going to beat you down and make you do whatever we say you got to do. All right? And this is all going to take place when that martial law that's in America now, but it's got to get heated up, and it's got to go through all the land of America, and it's got to, and then another thing that has to happen as I'm reading, Ephraim and Judah got to come together, which is going to bring all the tribes together, and they're going to mess you nations up. And you notice it mentioned Edom, right? It mentions Edom. It says, lay their hands upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And the Lord, Yahweh, shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. And with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the 7 streams. In other words, all the streams are going to be jacked up by the Most High, and make men to go over dry shod. All right, dry shod. It just says in shoes. All right. In other words, they're going to dry. That land's going to be that water. Those bodies of water are going to be dried up. That's also in the book of Revelation too. That the way of the kings might be prepared. It says, and there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, the Most High's people, Yahweh's people, which are Israel. Because not all Israel is going to make it. The majority of our people, as we've been saying, are going to be destroyed. It says, and there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel, and in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. In other words, there's going to be a great exodus out of that land. But the real way we're going to be brought out of here is by these ships, these so-called UFOs, the chariots of Israel. We're going to be beamed up. You're going to have some Jakes fighting in these race wars, protesting, killing police officers killing them. And that's at 2/3. But the 1/3, the elect, they're going to make it, man. They're not going to have a scratch on them. So this is what we pray for, man. This is what we hope for. This is what we want. We want what the Most High wants.
Yeah, that's right. So this is back in Genesis 49:9. It says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. Because the so-called Negroes at one time during the so-called, during the 60s and 70s, they were rising up, and coming together, for the injustices that was done to them. But then they went back to sleep, So it says, he stooped down, he couched as a lion and as an old lion. So basically you fell asleep. That's why you see the Jakes, especially over here in the East Coast, them Jakes, they'll be quick to kill each other. But then when it comes to Esau and the cops and stuff doing injustices to them, they won't do nothing. But this is what the scriptures say. It says, who shall rouse him up? So the Most High is going to rouse you up. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to rouse you up. How is he going to do it? By situations like in Ferguson, situations with the Oscar Grant killing, Gardner, over here, and different things like that have happened over the years. And that's how the Lord is going to rouse you up and get you out there to fight in these race wars. Because once this thing pops off like that, see, they wanted to bring in the FEMA troops and martial law back in '92 during the Rodney King riots. But the problem was that they were waiting for the riots to spill over into at least 4 or 5 cities, across America. But it didn't happen. So they didn't have enough to declare a legitimate national emergency. So that's why that didn't happen then. But it's still in the works. But that's the Most High on the left-hand side working, getting this thing brewing. Working on the minds of you people, sealing the elect and rising you Jakes up to get ready for these race wars, So you're going to stop killing each other and you're going to start going after the real enemy. you know, when the time comes. And that's why slowly but surely they're introducing the military in the cities. You know, they went up in Boston, like the Apostle Tar mentioned earlier. You know, they're out there in Missouri. You know, anytime there's an emergency now, the so-called cops, the local cops, they're not good enough to deal with it anymore. So they quickly bring out the military, because they're conditioning your mind to accept the military already policing the streets.
Well, the cops are militarized, so that's part of the military. You have different. You have the local cops, and you have the state police. You have the county police, and they all come in the military mindset. Then you have the National Guard. Okay, matter of fact, I'm gonna look up the National Guard and see what that's all about.
Yeah, I got an article here. It's from thecommonsenseshow.com, and I just scrolled down. It says the 3 stages of martial law rollout. Under martial law, Obama can effectively eliminate all opposition to his administration. Under martial law, Obama can eliminate all media opposition to his presidency. Additionally, under martial law, Obama can remain in power perhaps indefinitely. The patterns for the implementation of martial law follow 3 very distinct stages. And basically that's what's killing them right now, is the media, not the local media, or not the media as you know it, you know, your news stations, but really the media through the internet. That's what's really foiling, so to speak, their plans. Because the main thing that they count on is secrecy. But the secrets are out, you know?
Yeah, they've been saying for the longest, but really last couple of days, and it's even in the mainstream media, and Alex Jones spoke on it, and other alternative media people spoke on it, but now it's even spoken about in the mainstream media that ISIS is pretty much out of control. And that don't be surprised if there's a major terrorist attack on the homeland, so to speak, America, by ISIS. Okay, so they've been talking about it. So they always talk about what they do. They don't always keep things a secret. They make hints at you. You know, they make hints on these different news programs.
That's right. It says stage 1 of martial law consists of the gradual rollout of government controls over citizen liberties. Travel is restricted through inland border checkpoints, and that's what's happened. That was happening out there in Ferguson. They even declared a curfew from 12 o'clock midnight to 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, and then when they declare stuff like that, you could either be subject to arrest or subject to be put to death. You know, depending on how they are rolling that particular night. When the situation happened up in Boston, they locked down 1 million people. They couldn't come out their houses until they found those 2 individuals. You know, so it's just that simple. Just like that, they can just shut stuff down, have checkpoints, and the average person doesn't know back roads and stuff like that. Everybody usually goes through the main roads, and those main roads, once a situation happens, those main roads are going to be blocked off. The highways are going to be blocked off. You know? So it's coming, man. I mean, should I say it's here? It's not coming. It's already here. But like I was saying earlier, they just need the right crisis to just bring the hammer down. It says the internal DHS, Department of Homeland Security, VIPR programs, which randomly search citizens at public events and on the highways, are now in place. Citizens are conditioned by the TSA, the transportation, the people that check you at the in the airports. It says that they do not control or own their bodies, as the flying public is molested by the TSA every day in our nation's airports, in an extreme violation of our citizens' Fourth Amendment rights. Stage 1 also begins to create an enemies list, and we have already seen this in the MIAC report, in which Christians, Ron Paul supporters, Second Amendment supporters, libertarians, and constitutionalists have been branded as domestic terrorists. The enemies list, and that's why they bring out stuff like the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, and things like that, because that gives them lawful it puts in the books the ability for them to actually do these things and label the average American as a terrorist, whether it be a domestic terrorist or foreign or whatever the case is. It says it says the enemy's list has been created and will be acted upon at a future date. In stage 1, the government elevates itself above any pretense of constitutional liberties. America has been firmly under stage 1 martial law governance since the events of 9/11.
Yeah, I look up the word National Guard, and then I went to where it says constitutional basis. The reason why constitutionally they can have a National Guard. In other words, a National Guard is backed by the Constitution. But this is what it says. It says to execute the laws of the Union. All right? They didn't really need them in Missouri because there was no laws had to be executed because all the people were doing were protesting, which they have a constitutional right to do. Okay? It says, so, listen to this. Suppress insurrections. There was no insurrection. And repel invasions. There was no invasion, and that's Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15. So you know, they really had no need for the National Guard. The National Guard is brought in as when all hell breaks loose, and all hell didn't break loose.
To show them that we can bring peace.
Read the scripture real quick, then I want to go back to that article because there's a lot of meat in that article. Psalm 64:1. Hear my voice, O Most High, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. And that's what's coming. See, you people don't understand. We're telling you these things because the Spirit has guided us to learn about these things.
We're only telling the elect, okay? Because you other people ain't going to get in any goddamn way.
That's right. You know, but it's our job to tell you, like the Lord told Ezekiel, whether you hear, whether you'll forbear. Because once you hear it, you're responsible for it. That's why Yahweh Shai said, now have they no cloak for their sins. If I had not told them, they would have had the cloak for their sins. In so many words, just roughly paraphrasing. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. And that's a secret counsel. Because these things they've been doing behind the scenes for hundreds of years, you know, and then the things that you see now, they're just now starting to implement and starting to put it all together, you know, put those pieces together because it's time for them to sit back and have everyone as slaves. But one thing they don't count on is the Most High coming and destroying them, you know, and taking them out of distorting their plans. You know, like when you go back to the Tower of Babel, you know, the people was of one mind and one consent, and their mind was to build that tower, and there was nothing that could stop them. So the Lord confounded the languages there to have them stop building that building. So it's the same thing with the so-called white man here, the international bankers. You know, they're doing this thing for a goal of the so-called New World Order. But the Most High is going to throw a monkey wrench in it where you're not going to be able to implement that New World Order fully. It says, who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. And that's, like the apostle read earlier about the tumult. That's the words and the conspiracies and things that they speak behind closed doors, their plans. Those are the bitter words. Those are the arrows. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Who the hell you think that's speaking about? That's speaking about the Israelites, you know, because that's the main goal is for them to eliminate you. You know, that's why they have all these genocide plans for you. That's why they're trying to bring, you know, Ebola and them different diseases to wipe you out. That's what they have. That's why they created AIDS and different other diseases to try to wipe you off the planet. But that's not going to happen. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. What do you think a snare is? A snare is a trap. Privately means in secret. It says they say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search and trust and believe that these devils, they the wickedness that they're doing, they've sat down and meditated on it and thought about it and rehashed it, tried it, went to certain countries and tried it on the citizens there, see how it would work. Tried it on certain citizens here in America. Like when they went down to Panama, there's a thing called the Panama Deception. You know, they just went down and they tried it under the guise of getting Noriega, but they really were testing those new weapons that they had just created. They had to find a way to test them out. So they set that whole thing up just to test those weapons. So they do things like that because they search a diligent search. It says they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. Because eventually their plans are going to be foiled by the destruction of America and thermonuclear destruction. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. And that's why you have whistleblowers, you have guys within the organization that come out and tell, you know, of the things that are going on there. Because the Most High is making them do that so that we can hear about it, so that we can see it, so that we can warn the elect and tell whoever is out there that these things are coming. Because the Lord said that He made us a prophet unto the nations. So we have to tell you what your judgment is. You know. Before I read on, I just want to read a little more of this article. Because like I said, it's pretty good. It says, in stage 2, martial law implementation becomes obvious to all citizens except for the ones who invoke cognitive dissonance as a psychological coping mechanism. Stage 2 is marked by restriction on travel, the loss of free speech, and the right to assemble to air grievances against the government. Then it dropped down, it says a national ID. In stage 2, the free internet as we know it will disappear. And that's what they want to do. They want to do away with the internet so that this information can't, so this information, not disinformation, cannot be pushed out there. So they can stop it. But it's too late. The wheel's already turning. Once that wheel started turning back in the late 60s, early 70s, that was it. You know, like Bruce Lee threw that one pebble in that place, and then once the pebble hit, he said it's already started. The work is already going. The word has been already out. You know, it's just now that there's certain things that are happening that we've been speaking about for years. It says, subsequently, the truthful alternative media will disappear as well. Stage 2 is also characterized by the total loss of due process of law with regard to detainment, imprisonment, or worse. That's where you have what? The NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, where if they label you a terrorist or somebody that will help a terrorist or even know somebody that's a terrorist, they can hold you indefinitely. No writ of habeas corpus or nothing can pull you out of prison. You're just going to be up in there. Like they still got people in Guantanamo Bay. Going back to 9/11, they haven't let go. All right, it says the stage is also marked by limiting participation of members of the society who have been previously identified as enemies of the state. It says this would include the ability to hold certain kinds of employment, a special designation on a form of national ID, the imposition of restriction on who can marry, where one can live, etc. And they got a picture of the national ID card there, and it looks like a RFID emblem on it, you know. But eventually they want to they want to chip you. That's the ultimate goal. All right. So going back to the scriptures, it says verse 8, Psalm 64:8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And that's why the elect that are seeing these things are fleeing away from them and arming themselves with the truth. So when that time comes, you'll be protected if you're part of the elect. And all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. You know, so there is a reward, you know, for doing what the Lord said to do. You know, Because you got guys that have stopped doing the work, you know, because they didn't see anything happening. But Scripture say at the end they shall speak and not lie. You know, so we're at that point now. That's what you see in everything that's going on in America. And there's stuff that's going on that they're not even touching. They're not even bringing out on the regular media. Because if they would, it would cause a chaos, you know. So there's certain things that they're keeping under wraps. They're not allowing it to get out. But through the alternative medias, through the internet, you know, through YouTube and different other vehicles, the truth is going out. And things are happening. Things are moving forward, you know. And I keep stressing on it, but all they need is a right major crisis to roll out this whole New World Order agenda that they have, just to put a seal on it. You know, because that's what they want. They want chaos in the streets. They want anarchy. So it'll justify them in making the so-called president, you know, a president for life, you know, and then it will give them broader powers, because then they can bring in FEMA, you know, and bring in the martial law troops and all these different other troops and military and National Guard and reserves to the streets of America and lay down the so-called anarchy. And that's the point that we're at right now. You know, but what the Lord said, read it real quick. This is the book of Job. This is book of Job, chapter 5, and verse 12. It says, He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And what's their enterprise? Their enterprise is the New World Order. On the back of your dollar bill, it says Novus Ordo Seclorum, and above that it says Annuit Coeptus. You know, so basically announcing in layman's terms, so to speak, announcing the birth of the New World Order, or their enterprise has been crowned with success. But it's not going to be crowned with success. Just because you put it on your dollar bill don't mean that you're successful at it, because the Most High is going to throw a monkey wrench in your plans. You're talking about you Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and the rest of you international rich banking families of the world. Your plans are not going to work, because the Most High is going to throw a monkey wrench in your plans.
Can I read this real quick? This is a list of some executive orders, right? Now, this was in December 30th, 2009, Barack Obama issued this order. And it says here, Executive Order 13527. Now listen to this. It says, establishing federal capability for the timely provision of medical countermeasures following a biological attack. And that was back in 2009. All right, I'm gonna check some more, and I'll read them to you.
Yeah, because those executive orders they got a lot of executive orders that are been passed, you know, by the president, which he can if in the case of a national emergency, he could declare himself to be a dictator for life. You know, I mean, if a national emergency is declared, Congress can't review it for 6 months. Or whatever the length of the duration of the crisis is. You know, so these executive orders are in place because this devil, even though he's the devil, he still tries to do things, you know, by the books, so to speak. Even though they're wicked and evil, but they have to have everything on the books.
Yeah, his books.
In his books, exactly.
Yeah, because they write it as they go along.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. And that's right. They write it as they go along. That's why. Oh, matter of fact, before I go there, let me finish this up. Verse 13. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. There goes again, and from their mouth. We were speaking about before, the tumults. You know? It says, and from the hand of the mighty. And who's the mighty? Esau. You know, these are international bankers with all the weapons and military and stuff. You can't fight against them. So the Most High got to fight against them for you. It says, so the poor hath hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. Because all this stuff that they spoke, They're putting it into motion, but the Most High is going to stop it because they're not going to be able to fulfill their new world order. It says, behold, happy is the man whom the Most High correcteth, therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. For he maketh sore and bindeth up, he woundeth and his hands make whole. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. The 6 troubles is talking about the 6th trumpet. Because between the end of the 6th and the beginning of the 7th, that's where the destruction is coming in and the deliverance. So the Lord said, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. Because at the end of that, in the 6 troubles, that's going when all hell's going to be breaking out here. But then when the 7th comes, which is completion, that's when the destruction is coming, and at the same time the deliverance of the elect of the nation of Israel. So that's what the scripture say. Matter of fact, it says that you're going to see 10,000 die on one side and a certain amount on the other side, but it's not going to come near the elect. This is Psalms 91:1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noise and pestilence, which is what? This is talking about this, destruction. It says, he shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. What's that? Those are the chariots. It says, his truth shall be thy shield and buckler. See, so like we were speaking earlier, that this truth is what you're going to be armed with in that time. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, and it shall not come nigh thee. So those of the elect, the destruction ain't going to touch you. You know, you're going to be delivered. And right now, you know, this turmoil that's going on in America, and it's going to escalate, you know, the same thing, the Lord's going to protect you from that too. Those of the elect. You're not going to be caught up in that.
Yeah, I got another scripture. This is Isaiah 13, and I'm going to start at the 6th verse. It says, howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. 7. Therefore all hands shall be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. No, that's when that's gonna come after martial law. You know, after the or during the concentration camps, during the chipping period. Okay, that's a new term we're gonna use. During the chipping period. All right. The hour of chipping. 8. And they shall be afraid. You're going to have Esau being afraid. You're going to have Jake being afraid. People that don't understand being afraid, pursuant to Isaiah 33:6 that you just mentioned. If they don't know what's going on, they're going to bug out. And you women are damn sure. You women that call yourself being in the truth, if you ain't a part of the elect, you're going to bug out. A lot of you niggas that call yourself Israelites, that call yourself going out there on the highways and the byways, the ones of you that ain't right, the most you're gonna get caught up in this, man. And then you're gonna be presented with the chip, and your false teachers like Nate and Johanna, you've been taught, you know, you've been brainwashed to the fact that that's not the mark of the beast, so you can take it. See, that's their job, man. That's their job, to deceive you. Okay. It says 8th verse, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold on them, of them rather. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames, right? 9th verse, it says, behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof, which is Israel, thereof out of it. So
Are you fucking kidding me?
When this society goes down, because once the martial law, you know, once they really declare martial law on a national level,
on the 2nd floor.
And that's it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
it.
What's your name?
You know?
Carolyn.
Yeah, well, you can speak on that asshole. It says he must have said something that pissed you off. It says ninth verse. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel. I read that already. 10th verse. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Now they ain't talking about an actual sun and the moon and all that. That's talking about the knowledge and wisdom of your so-called leaders. Because you're going to be looking for answers, and you're not going to get no answers. Yeah, let me let you say what you got to say. That nigga.
This Republican John Lewis, and if you look at the picture, he's holding a 666. You know, he's throwing up those signs. Representative John Lewis, civil rights icon, calls for martial law in Ferguson, Missouri. This is filed August 14th, 2014. Not too long, a few days ago. It says John Lewis, the Democratic congressman from Georgia and civil rights icon, called on President Barack Obama to declare martial law in Ferguson, Missouri on Thursday as a necessary response to the blunders of the local police. Lewis says the police have responded to largely peaceful protesters over the slaying of an unarmed black teenager, Michael Brown, with excessive force reminiscent of the 1960s. And what they're doing is they're using these so-called leaders to push this bullshit, man. This guy look like a black turtle, going to call on President Barack Obama to declare martial law in Ferguson, Ferguson, Missouri. You know, so they're using it. Then you got this other clown, the good Reverend Al Sharpton, going down there to Ferguson to rally the people. You know, here in New York and different other places. So they're using these so-called black leaders to further mess you people up, man. So when I read that pissed me off, because it's like it's plain in your face, but you don't see it. But it's all right though. You keep doing what you've been doing. Keep going to your parties. Keep playing around. And when you wake up one morning, or they come busting in your door and dragging your ass out of bed in your boxes, you know, and throwing your ass in the back of a cold ass truck, and driving your ass to a concentration camp, and you be sitting in there.
A concentration camp near you.
Yeah, a concentration camp near you, because they got them all over the United States. You know. Then you're gonna be, man, I should have listened to them Israelites. You know. But it's going to be too late, man. And it's going to be beautiful, man. The Most High is finally going to get you, mother effers, man. Most High is going to finally get you.
This guy's a joker, man. Obama's a goddamn joker, man. Look at him, man. This guy's an actual, this is an actual joker. This is like the real Joker right here, man. And, yeah, you look just like him, the black Joker. It says Obama signs executive order permanently implementing martial law. Did you hear that? Let me read that again. Obama, the Barack Obama, the guy that you put in office, Mr. Hope and Change. Yeah, he did give you. He did keep to his promise. He gave you hope and change. He forgot to put in the word no before the word hope. And the change that he gave you, he turned this place into like a fucking this country into a concentration camp, man. Let me read that again. Obama signs executive order permanently, that means forever, until the missiles come and take this place out, permanently implementing martial law. It says last Friday Obama made good on his promise to use executive action to expand his authority and quietly sign the order called National Defense Resources Preparedness. Let me see the date on this thing. I don't see no date. February 19th. Okay, February 19th. Okay, that was a couple of months ago. All right? And they didn't make a big deal about this. All right? It says he made a promise to use executive action to expand his authority and quietly signed the the order called National Defense Resources Preparedness, which puts our nation in a permanent, listen now, in a permanent state of martial law. Now, that happened back there in February 2014. So they already had this. They were waiting for this incident to take place. It says National Defense Resources Preparedness, which puts our nation in a permanent state of martial law that only needs to be activated by the president whenever he should so choose to do so. So this guy, man, he can cause mass death in this country, man. All he got to do is give the okay. Go ahead, Al.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra 16. That's why these scriptures that we read and break down are so important, man. Because when you read these different articles, it brings the scriptures to life even more. Because it's explaining to you the things that the scriptures are speaking about. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 67. Behold, the Most High himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. You have some more? Okay. It says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. What do you think that is? That burning wrath of a great multitude, that's those troops. Now, when you go back during the time of Yahushua, what happened? Yahushua was telling these people, the Israelites back then, look, there's going to come a time where you're going to see these Roman armies coming up in here in Judea, having you surrounded. You're going to be in sieges. You're going to get jacked up. You're going to be in turmoil. He said, when you see these things happening, then flee to the mountains. So those whose eyes were open, they took heed to what Yahushua said and they left. But the rest of them got caught up in that snare, in that trap. Matter of fact, before I read on, I'll get it. It's in the book of Luke 19. Because, see, this particular scripture is talking about back then, when Yahushua was on the scene and the apostles in him. But you can use it as an example of what's going to go on today. This is Luke chapter 19 and verse, I started at 41. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it. And why did he weep over it? Because he saw in the spirit, he saw all the atrocities that was going to come down. He saw 70 AD. He saw the women, pregnant women with child and babies and men and all that, old men, old women being put to death by the Roman armies. It says, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. And that's where you have clowns like General Johanna and Nasty Nate out there telling you that the microchip is not the mark of the beast.
Yeah, that's the main. That's the main goal. As my man Aaron Russo said, that's the main goal, to have everybody chip. And they're using these incidences because nobody out there in Missouri, out there in Ferguson, Missouri, nobody's out there with signs saying this is going to lead to you taking the chip, which is a mark of the beast. These celebrities don't speak on this, man. The only ones that speak on this is us, and then Nasty Nate, and General Johanna. But they're saying that the mark of the beast is not the chip, and anybody's teaching it is an idiot and all that. Reality is going to hit every one of you Israelites in the face, because it's all about Israel. Fuck with Esau. If he dies, if 1 million of them die, so fucking what? They Edomites. They ain't nothing. The most, everything is centered around Israel. Okay? How does this affect Israel? Now it says here, Obama administration keeping lists of future FEMA detainees, all U.S. citizens. Okay, that's the president that you put, Mr. Hope and Change, man. And this is this website is called Mr. Conservative, or MrConservative.com. Okay, and that's an actual video. So when you go to that, you might want to review the video, and the producer might put it up in there. Okay, and this was dated February 7th, 2014. All right. It says rumors have gained a bit of credibility after it was leaked that Obama, your hope and change president, was keeping a list of people to be rounded up. Give me Revelation 2. Rounded up and arrested in times of martial law. Basically, essentially, that situation out there in Ferguson is martial law. The situation up there in Boston, the Boston Marathon, that was martial law. That was a taste of martial law. It says Obama was keeping a list of people to be rounded up and arrested in times of martial law. Those on the list, some 8 million names. Did you hear that? Those on the list, some 8 million names will be placed in FEMA camps so not to further disrupt the peace. In other words, he got 8 million troublemakers on that list. And I'm pretty sure we on that list. We at the top of the list. You know, they got the categories. They got the KKK guys. They got this crew over here. They got the tax protesters. They got the black Hebrew Israelites, as they call them. The black consciousness community. Sarnett is on the list because he talks a lot of shit, you know. They scratch Natural Tahuti, Fruity Tahuti off the list because he's already in the camp. All right. This list isn't actually anything new, as it was leaked during the Bush administration. So Bush had the list, and he passed the list to my man Obama, and they added some names to the list. Okay. The Bush administration, of course, liberals persecuted Bush for keeping such a list, insisting that Democrats would never think of Americans in such a way. As it turns out, this isn't entirely the truth, or this isn't entirely true. Now, it says another article here that I can click to. I'm not even going to go into it. I might read it later. It says, see also, it says students sign petition to have gun owners thrown into FEMA camps and executed. Let me read that again. Students sign petition, and that wasn't on the news. I don't remember seeing that on CNN, the Cartoon News Network. Students sign petition to have gun owners thrown into FEMA camps and executed.
Yeah, they have a thing. They have a thing called Operation Trojan Horse, where they get like a major spokesman for the NRA and to gather all those people. Yeah, and then basically what that is just to gather up all those people that have guns. You know, because the guy that we work for, you know, he owns guns. You know, so we told him you I know you're on that list. Because, you know, he kind of gets into the, you know, conspiracy stuff. You know, we talk about certain things on the job, you know, when we get a moment. You know, so I told him about Operation Trojan Horse. I don't know if he looked it up yet. But basically that, you know, you get one major spokesman, you know, that everybody looks up to like a demigod. And what he does, he gets all your information, where you live, you know, how, you know, your address, you know, and all that stuff. So then he'll gather that information and give it to the so-called government. You know, and they'll keep that on the list. You know, you'll be on that particular list. You know, that's why you got this guy Alex Jones, which is nothing but a Illuminati shill. And what is he pushing? He's selling herbs. He's selling tangerine and all these different things that I'm pretty sure they're good. But what do you have to do? If you want it, you have to give them your address, a place to send it. So now what are they doing? They're collecting a database of all you Alex Jones followers. You know, and NRA, you got spokesmen for the NRA. You know, so they're gathering all you people's information and they're putting you on that list. You know, oh, and I just want to mention real quick, since the Apostle Tar mentioned Nacho Tutti Frutti Tahuti, this guy, the cop that shot the kid, Mike Jones, I'm sorry, Michael Brown, in you know, Big Mike in Ferguson. Now he has a website where they're collecting money to help him out, you know, with his situation. Now, Fruity Tahuti's they've been collecting money for him for what, about 3 months now, and they have 17 donors and $685 collected, and the goal is $25,000. Now, the cop, his goal was $100,000. In 2 days, they collected $71,000 for this cop on the 17,000 not protesters, people that were helping him. In 2 days. That just shows you that the so-called black conscious community is full of shit. You know, because here it is, you got these cops amongst each other. They collected this money to help this guy out. In 2 days, they raised up $71,000, and the goal was $100,000. But Natural Fruity Tahuti's been locked up. They've been collecting for about 3 months, and you got $685. That's a damn shame.
Yeah, there's a lot of sub-articles. I'm just reading the headlines. There's another one. And if I had the time, we would get into it. But this could be another show. It says, see also Obama activating FEMA camps across the country. Did you hear that? And we've been saying this since we came on YouTube. Guys been talking shit. Nate said when 2010 came around, he said, you guys said in 2010 we were all going to be in concentration camps and FEMA camps. We never said that, man. You lying sack of shit. It says here also, it says, see also FEMA stockpiling body bags since Katrina's top secret gun confiscation scheme. Let me just go back. Okay, now I'm gonna read some of this right quick. It says students sign, I read this earlier. The headline is students sign petition to have gun owners thrown into FEMA camps and executed, right? Now it says not only is Obama keeping a list, that secret list to throw you into camps, which currently there's, as of February of 2014, there's 8 million people on that list. It says keeping the list and has updated it since he was elected in the office because Bush had it before him. It has been around since the 80s. That's right. This list is a bipartisan, meaning Republican president, whether a Republican is in office or a Democrat is in office, they get that same list. So really, this is a one-party system with two heads. You know, that's all it is. This is part of an agenda, you know, because people get tired of the Democrat, then they're going to get a Republican in. Then they get tired of the Republican, then they're going to get a Democrat in. And that's how they step by step, you know, fulfill their agenda, all right, by using you stupid motherfuckers, man. You know? You get mad, it makes you want to curse. It says that's right. This list is a bipartisan effort to violate the rights of Americans in a preemptive way on the basis that they are a threat to the government. So the black Hebrew Israelites are considered a threat to the government. The new Black Panther Party is considered a threat to the government. Whatever white supremacist groups, they're considered a threat to the government. The black consciousness community, they're considered a threat to the government. These different gangs, the Bloods, the Crips, they're considered a threat to the government. All right? It says, that being said, it is unclear on what exactly gets your name on the list. Could be a criminal past or even political leanings. All right? The list is called the Main Core, and it is stored in a database on government service. And that's all I'm going to read on that, you know?
This is Revelation chapter 2, verse...
Oh, no, I got to read on. Because, you know, I would be remiss if I didn't read this. It says, several conspiracy nuts. I had to read that from my main man, Nate, which now he's becoming a conspiracy nut on his last video.
Yeah, that's
you know?
right.
You know, he has to eat his words now. Since they put him on that commercial, you know? So now he sees that there is such a thing as a conspiracy. Okay? It says several conspiracy nuts have developed theories as to just how the government is going to go about arresting those on the list. In several heavily populated areas, though, residents are noticing a strange occurrence. Odd-colored dots appearing on their mailboxes. Now, I mean, I haven't noticed that on anybody's mailbox, but that's an old story. As it turns out, there are 3 colors representing the intention of the government regarding you and your family. It says they have been noted to come in only 3 colors: red, blue, yellow. Red resembles the fact that a veteran, conservative, or a public political figure lives in the residence. These are said to be executed on the spot. That's the red dot, all right? There's a guy in the black community called Red Dot, or Black Dot, rather. I think there's a guy called Red Dot, too. If your mailbox has a blue sticker on it, it is said that you are similar to the red stickers, but have a more manipulative personality. In essence, you are a follower and will be taken to a FEMA camp and re-educated. Let me read that again. It says if your mailbox has a blue sticker on it, it is said that you are similar to the red stickers, but have a more manipulative personality, meaning they can change you, remold you. All right. In essence, you are a follower, because you have, leaders. You have the apostles, which you see before you, 2 of the apostles, and then you have, Nate. You have Johanna. You have Sarnetta. You have these different so-called self-proclaimed leaders. Basically, us guys like us, they just said, look, you can't change these guys. You just got to kill them. The ones of you that are following these people, us, Nate, you got to kill them. I mean, you got to put them in concentration camps. You got to re-educate them. So Esau has everything set up in stages, man. Esau has everything set up in categories. All right. Right. You have overlords, vassals, and serfs. That goes back to what's the term? A feudalism, which that's what we're coming to, a feudalistic society. All right. It says, lastly, if you are a yellow sticker, this represents no threat and will be allowed to remain free. These are the people that agree with the government in its current state and don't have a problem with them doing what they want. Got people that, I'm with it, I'm happy for the government. Praise the government, support the troops and all that. So what do you think? Is the government already preparing for the martial law they will enact under illegal proceedings? Let us know in a comment below, or the comment board below. So they're just telling you, man. Now, whether this is a hoax article or whatever it is, I mean, it does make you think, man.
Yeah, because you got information and you got disinformation, but overall that information there is accurate because it backs up what the scriptures are saying, and you have insiders, as we were reading earlier. You have insiders that have come out and actually divulged the secrets of the so-called Illuminati. These international bankers, they have an agenda, and they plan on implementing that agenda. This is Revelation 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So Yahweh Shai warned us that these things were going to happen, and we're fast approaching that time right now. You know, I mean, when the military comes into the cities and arrests people, you know that something's rotten in Denmark, so to speak. You know.
Yeah, this is another scripture, Micah. Scriptures that we already know, but we just keep. Basically, we go into these different articles and these different news clippings and news stories, and basically what we're doing now is filtering them through the scriptures. All right. It says here, Micah 2:1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. They practice it because it is in the power of their hands, and they covert fields and make them and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." All right. It says, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil." So we're in that time. We're approaching that time, because it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
This is in the book of 2 Timothy 3:1. "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." And those perilous times are here. But they just haven't fully escalated to where it's going to be. You know? Now, going back to Luke chapter 19 and verse 43. "For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side." And that's what's going to happen today. It happened back then during the time of Yahushua, during the time of 70 AD, and it's going to happen again in these times. You know, it says, "And they shall lay thee even with the ground." And them cops ain't playing, man. He said they shall lay thee even with the ground. They're going to lay you out.
Big Mike was laid even with the ground. He was laid out flat in a pool of his own blood. And then they left him there for a couple of hours. They just left him out there, man. Didn't even cover the man. You don't give that treatment to a dead dog. That's stirring up the pot, so to speak. And Obama is behind all that shit, man.
Hey, man, because the Lord is stirring that pot up, man. He got that big metal spoon, and he just stirring it up, man. He's just stirring that controversy up. You know, until it's nice and boiling, and the vegetables are just right, and the meat is just right, and then it's ready to be served. It says, "And they shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation." And this is the time of the visitation again. And a lot of you don't know because the Lord blinded you. And he went into the... I'm sorry, that was it on that. Now, there's other examples of these things happening. When you go back during the time of the Babylonians, when you go back during the time of the Greeks and different other nations, you know, when they came and did the same things to us, sieges and destroying, you know, Israel back then. This is another one. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 19. I'm sorry, verse 20. "And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude." And what do you think they did when they came to Jerusalem with that great multitude? They destroyed Israel. You know, they either, if you didn't conform to them, they would destroy you. If you didn't eat swine's flesh, if you didn't break the Sabbath, if you didn't not circumcise your children, you know, if you did those things, if you didn't do those things, they will put you to death. It's the same thing now. Their agenda is you're going to have to bow down to them completely. And that's it.
Yeah, this is Baruch, the 4th chapter. And the 4th chapter, the whole chapter is a lot of meat in it. But I'm going to jump to the 25th verse, right? It says, "My children, suffer wrath that is come upon you from Yahweh. For thine enemy, Esau, and then the other nation behind them, have persecuted thee. but shortly thou shalt see his destruction, and shalt tread upon his neck. All right? Now my woman, my demon, I call her, all right? Now, if anybody say, well, why are you calling your woman a demon? Why you did your wife and all that? Read when you get a chance, read 1 Corinthians 7 chapter, man. Paul said, I warn you, you shall have trouble in the flesh. So all you men that are so call yourself men of the Lord, and you got a woman that's in order, you ain't no man of the Lord, man. Paul said, I'd rather that you be like me and have no woman. But if you need to get a woman, and instead of burning, go ahead and get you a woman. But I warn you, you shall have trouble in the flesh. Because a woman is like a demonic robot most of the damn time, man. You know? Satan's working straight up exactly through him, man. Like this guy, this fucking sellout Uncle Tom nigga wearing a white man suit. I'm talking about Andre Taylor, KOC the ape, I call him. He did that little thing talking about, he kept saying how they don't treat the black woman right. And the black man, the fucking white man don't treat the black woman right, man. There's videos, and if the producer can find them, showing where cops knock fucking black women out, man.
Violent confrontation on the side of the freeway.
Beat the shit out of them. In the street, pregnant women, man. So why don't you get on that, man? Where have you ever seen an Israelite, out there in the camp, beat the shit out of a woman? Never. Okay? Where you ever see one of us beat the shit out of our wives? Huh?
You guys are just talking that shit because that's all you have is slander.
But he had that white man suit on, man. You had the white man suit on. You look like you were going to fucking Thursday assembly. Remember, you used to have assembly and shit, and that was the only day of the week you had to wear a white shirt or whatever, or a blue shirt with a fucking tie, a multicolored tie, and sit there assembly and shit. That's what you look like, man. You look like a fucking old house nigga, man. That jumped in a time machine, and then they just interviewed your ass. You did right by the white man. And the white man's gonna reward you kindly.
Give you that nice bone you were looking for. Hey, well, you know what I look at?
You know what, man? Hey, now even Nate is mad, but good, nigga. Nate, you're in that pot. You're in that pot, man. Yeah, you in the pot with us. You're getting stirred up with us, man. So deal with it. Now your ass is mad. Now you believe in conspiracies. Now you're a conspiracy nut. All right? Hey, but this guy, KOC, now he's supposed to be a black consciousness, what they call that group? The Rebel Alliance Media. You should have a fucking suit, man. Like a sweatsuit with Ram on it, in a ram's head on it. You had the white man suit, man. You put your fucking assembly suit on, all right?
Yeah, I looked up that word police state, right? It says a police state is a state in which the government exercises rigid and repressive controls over the social, economic, and political life of the population. A police state typically exhibits elements of totalitarianism and social control, and there is usually little or no distinction between the law and the exercise of political power by the executive. Because the bottom line is, you don't have any rights. You have a de facto rights, because your rights are not really yours, because you're a product of the government. You belong to the government, beginning with your birth certificate. You belong to the government,
and they're going to show you that you belong to the government, man. That's why you got an SS number. They getting this thing, live, hot, and popping, man. They getting this thing. This pot is getting stirred up, and things after this incident, after this thing, cools down. You think everything you're gonna go back to normal, and white people and black people no, something else is gonna happen, man. Remember, you have over 300 million people in this country, man. And there's people getting shot and killed, and cops are beating the shit out, busting down doors as we talk right now, man. But you know what the media does? You know how you get all all into a uproar over this Michael Brown thing? Because they put it on them. They decided to say, we're going to put this on the media. We're going to run it on the media. There's all kind of situations happening out there, man. There's a cop probably kicking a 2-year-old baby right now in his ass. Probably kicking a black pregnant woman in her stomach. And you'll never see that. You'll never see a black cop kick a white woman in the stomach or beat her. Give me that, man. You know? White cops can do this shit because they know they can get away with it, man. As long as they do it to a nigga. Or what they deem as a nigga. And people are going to start retaliating, man. And America's going to become a war zone. And all you guys have been playing Israel, we're going to see if you're real or not, man.
Right. It goes on to say the inhabitants of a police state experience restrictions on their mobility and on their freedom to express or communicate political or other views, which are subject to police monitoring or enforcement, like the situation in Ferguson. It says political control may be exerted by means of a secret police force which operates outside the boundaries normally imposed by a constitutional state. And they did that out there in Egypt. You know, they had those police. They were going in there.
They did it in Greece. They did it in Spain. They did it in Argentina. They've been doing this shit for years. Now it's coming over here. Eventually, now it's coming over here.
That's right. That's right. You know, so it's here, man. It's here. It's here. It says It's here, right? It's not there. It's here. It says Robert von Moll, who first introduced the rule of law to German jurisprudence, contrasted the Reichstag, legal or constitutional state, with the aristocratic Polizeistaat police state. You know, and it goes into more, but that's the main point.
Yeah, it says here, Micah, ultimately you're going to get the upper hand, you Jakes. Yep. This is Micah 5 and 7. It says, and the remnant of Jacob, which is Israel, shall be in the midst of many people, the other nations, as a dew from the Lord, Yahweh, as the showers upon the grass. You crackers and you other nations going to be the grass, and we're going to be the showering over your ass. That tarrieth not for man. In other words, when the government comes out, matter of fact, get that in the Apocrypha in 2 Ezra 15. It says that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. In other words, when the cops come, they're going to be attacking the cops and the military. 8, it says, and the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles, in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep. Now you know what happens if you let one lion loose among 1,000 sheep. He tearing all that up. He tearing all that up, man. It says, who, if he go through both, and the lion is us. The lion is us, led by Judah, the tribe of Judah, because Judah and Ephraim going to come together, all right? If he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Because you had counter protesters that supported that racist ass cop. And you look, when they showed that guy's face, I said, man, that's a poster boy for racism, man. I mean, he looked racist, man. You know how you run into certain crackers and they look fucking racist. They look like they just came out of took their hood off from a KKK meeting, man. I mean, he got the look of a racist, man. Like normally you get a cop that's white and they'll say he did it over racism, and they'll say, well, he got friends, he got black friends. You know they haven't brought out one black friend? The only friends he's had was crackers that look just like him. Racist, man. You know? But that's all right. Let this thing happen. It's going to build up, man. It's going to build up. This whole country is going to become a damn martial law. The whole country is going to be declared by Obama, your president, under the terms of martial law. All right, it says here, as a young lion, he go through both, he go through both, treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Thy hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, that's the white man, and all thy enemies, Esau, shall be cut off. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and destroy the chariots, and I will cut off the cities. And this goes hand in hand with 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, of thy hand, and throw down all thy strongholds. It says in 12, it says, and I will cut off witchcraft, because your power is from the left hand side. You know, your power is from the spiritual demon Satan among your elites. That's why you're in power. I mean, the Most High put you in power, but you do things based upon the spiritual demon Satan. That's why we call you the devil. That's why we say you're the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. All right?
That's right. And you have demon guides that guide you. You know, just like the spirit guides us, you know, the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai guides us, you have actual demon guides that guide you. This guy, John Todd, was bringing that out. How he had demon guides that would guide him into everything he was doing. You know, that's on the left-hand side. You know, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. I'll read 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. And that's what you're seeing now, you know. But this is going to escalate even more, you know, because they're going to stop listening to the president. They're going to stop listening to their congressmen. They're going to stop listening to these Uncle Tom, Al Sharptons, and Reverend Jesse Jacksons, and so on and so forth. And they're going to stop. Some guys, even among General Yohana and Nate, are going to stop listening to them. No, because they're going to see that they've basically been had pretty much. You know, they're seeing that the so-called white man is constantly, you know, doing wickedness and getting away with it. You know, and eventually they're going to get tired of hearing these pacifists that basically all they're doing is putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. And that's why that thing never dies down, because that wound is still fresh. It's festering. You know, it's a putrid. You know, it's infected.
Yeah, putrefying sore. That's what
right.
the scripture call it.
That's right. And then it's not going to stop until justice is actually served.
Until justice flows like waters. Yeah, that communist said that. That damn communist Martin Lucifer Coon. This here is Zechariah 9 and 12. It says, turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. And what's the part of the mantra of Obama? How did he get into office? Hope and change, right? Yes, we can. And you believe that things are going to change for the better. He didn't tell you that things are going. He told you change was coming, right? Well, he didn't lie to you. Change did come. He's declaring martial law, and he's turning this place into a feudalistic society. Okay, so he didn't lie to you. He didn't tell you what he told you about change, and he did tell you about hope. But he didn't tell you that you wasn't gonna have no hope. Okay, it says, "Turn ye to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope." Hey, when you prisoners of hope, right? That could be a title for another show. Hey, because when you read that line there, prisoners of hope, you think about a bunch of Negroes, a bunch of simple ass Negroes that's standing around looking up in the sky, waiting for something, man. You know, that's why you be playing the lotto, man. You be trying to hit that number, you know. Get a better life. That's you a prisoner of hope. It says, "You prisoner of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee." 13. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and that goes hand in hand, like I read earlier in Isaiah. Isaiah the 11th chapter? It said, "Fill the bow of Ephraim," because when this thing really gets kicked off. When this thing is about to explode, the first thing has to happen is Judah and the Latin tribes got to come together. They got to come together. Okay? You got people on the common board, all you different camps should come together. No, we ain't going to come together, man. You got to call on the tribes out there coming together. All right? And Judah is Dino and Ephraim is Might. You know? And that's going to be dynamite, you know? It says for the Lord, I'm sorry, 13 again. It says, when I have bent Judah for me, fill the bow with Ephraim, and raise up thy sons, O Zion. And now all the tribes, they used to teach in the old school, Zion is talking about Judah. It's talking about the whole nation of Israel, man. The Lord just didn't remember Judah. He remembered the whole nation. All right? O sons, thy sons of Zion, against thy sons, O Greece. Now, when you look up that word, go that word, the word Greece in the blue letter, because it should be Yawan, which goes back to the Japhet. Which the people of Japhet, that's why you got certain Israelite groups say that the white man are the sons of Japhet. They're not deep researchers, all right? The descendants of the white man, or the white man, they descended from a man by the name of Edom or Esau, all right? And it says, like I said, it says Yawan, all right, Yawan, okay? Which the original people of Yawan are the Japhetic people. So you Edomites, you took over those lands. So now you have that name, that label on you now, because you took over Greece, you know, after Alexander the Greek. And it says, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man. 14. And the Lord Yahweh shall be seen over them. That's them ships that we always talk about, the UFOs, the chariots of Israel, to come and deliver us. And his arrows shall go forth as the lightning, because out of those ships are going to spew forth laser weaponry. And the Lord Yahweh shall blow the trumpet. In the book of Revelation, it speaks of the seven trumpet being blown, and that's when all hell's going to break loose, and shall go with whirlwinds of the south, because these ships whirl around. That's why Esau calls them flying saucers. It says 15, the Lord Yahweh of hosts shall defend them, the Israelites, the sons of Zion, and they shall devour and subdue with sling stones. Now the word subdue, I can't read it. The script is too small. The word subdue with sling stones, and they shall drink and make a noise as to wine, and they shall be filled with bowls, and as the corners of the altar. And the Lord Yahweh their power shall save them, because we're going to be beamed up into these ships. So you're supposed to pray that martial law comes. You're supposed to pray that the mark of the beast is instituted. You should pray for these riots to take place, because the sooner these things happen, the quicker we out this bitch, you know. It says 16, it says, and the Lord Yahweh their power shall save them in that day when all hell breaks. We're going to be saved when all hell breaks loose, as the flock of his people. For they shall be as the stones of a crown lifted up as a ensign upon his land. And that's us being in the ships and the ship flying away. That's the fulfillment of Psalms 91. It says we're going to look down and we're going to see them 10,000 on thy right side, 1,000 at thy left side, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shall thou see the reward of the wicked. So we're going to actually see these devils, these Edomites, being destroyed by these missiles, man. We're going to actually see it. It says, a crown lifted up as an ensign upon his land. For how great is his goodness, Most High's goodness, and how great is his beauty. Corn shall make the young men cheerful. In other words, there's not going to be no more GMO corn, you know? And new wine to maids. So we're this close. We're this close to this man going down.
That's right. You know, and that's what we're supposed to be praying for this devil to go down. You know, and keep watching for these prophecies, keep warning, you know, the elect out there, the brothers that's part of this, that's out there doing the work of sincerity, you know, that's part of the elect, you know, we got to keep doing, you know, because, you know, the scriptures say watch as well as pray. You know, what are we supposed to watch for? We're supposed to watch for the prophecies, you know, and when you see these prophecies come to pass, that's how you know that we're in that time. You know, because there's always been wars and earthquakes and different things, but not on the level that they are today. You know, because we're fast approaching the time when the Lord is about to make his appearance. You know, and one thing, you know, we through the Spirit, you know, the Spirit has it going into it every once in a while, but you know, we don't go into it all the time. Is the chariots, you know, but when the Spirit hits us, we bring out about the chariots. You know, because you're going to start seeing more and more sightings of these chariots. It's going to be undeniable. You know, that these chariots are going to be because the chariots are out there, and there's going to be more sightings of them, because the closer we get to this, you know, the more you'll see the chariots, because that's going to be the deliverance of Israel. You know, that's how the Lord is going. That's how the Lord is going to deliver you. You're not going to go to no freaking Egypt, you know, to flee from Babylon. The way you're going to get out of Babylon is through them chariots, the ones of you that are part of the elect, you know, because that's the deliverance of Israel. Not no getting a ticket, a plane ticket to fly over to Egypt, you know, because the Most High ain't dealing with that.
Yeah, well, Yahweh Shai said he's coming to gather the elect in those chariots. That's right. That's in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. And notice it says the elect. It didn't say the whole nation. That's right. Matter of fact, let me see if it comes up.
While you get there, let me say this. Here's another article. This is the HuffPost Black Voice. And it says, I'm just going to read the headlines. It says, the grand jury in Michael Brown shooting case is mostly white. And I heard that yesterday because they assembled the grand jury, which is going to be composed of 12. It consists of 12 people, and 9 of them are white and 3 are black. And I heard, I got to go to the law, in order for the cop to be indicted, they have to have at least 9 people, you know, ruled that, yeah, he's going to be indicted. Or if the 9 say no, then the 3, it don't mean nothing. If the 3 say, yeah, he should be indicted, arrested, and so forth by the grand jury, the 9 rule that out. So if all those white grand jurors agree that the cop did it because of self-defense, then guess what? He's not going to be indicted. He's not going to be indicted, meaning he's not going to be charged, meaning there's not going to be a trial, meaning there's not going to be a jury trial, and there's no chance of him being convicted. So people see that, man. They gathered the jury, the grand jury, 12 people, 9 of them happen to be Edomites. So you're already a damn trick bag. Look, they're working to get this guy off, man, to have him walk scot-free. They don't even want him to go to trial. They don't even want him to be indicted. So that should stir y'all up again. Because I'm going to tell you right now, man, this devil, he gonna do everything in his power to keep this man from going to jail. Take a look at that white man. That's not no dark-haired white man that looks Italian. That's a Scandinavian cracker, man.
Yeah.
That's a pure devil right there, man. That's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed devil. So they're not gonna let him. They ain't gonna let him. That's a pure white man. That man's white on both sides of his family, man. That man ain't gonna do a minute in jail.
Yep, yeah.
So if you niggas believe that you're gonna get justice, you are damn fools, man. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Anybody have any closing thoughts? Anybody?
No.
All right. Well, with that, we're gonna say shalom.